My friends, what an honor and a pleasure and a privilege it is to be here today with you and to be speaking about forgiveness, and specifically to be speaking about forgiving our parents. Forgiving our parents is one of the most challenging things we'll ever do, and like all of life's greatest challenges, it bears tremendous fruits and tremendous rewards on so many different levels, should we be up for the challenge, and I know that you are. I don't want you to feel guilty about this, guys, because this is a very natural thing. In fact, very few are the people that don't harbor some degree of anger and resentment towards their parents. And the reason why is this. Our parents are the first heroic figures that we're introduced to in our life. And coming with this heroic stature is expectations, great expectations. Expectations that are unreasonable and irrational, but expectations nonetheless. You know, guys, there's a story I want to share with you. When I was 4 years old, I'll never forget this, guys. I'm 4 years old. I'm standing on the ledge of a whirlpool, a jacuzzi, and I fall into the water. And you know, it's not a big deal now, but when you're 3 feet tall and you're in 4 feet of water, you do the math, it's a pretty horrifying predicament. And time came to a screeching halt. It was one of those moments, and I was completely powerless. I was completely helpless. And out of nowhere reaches into the water a hand, which yanks me up by my hair and ushers me to safety. And that hand was the hand of my father. Our parents are the first heroes we see in our lifetime. Our mother is no different. You know, I think of a child that is crawling and then eventually stands up on its own 2 feet and takes its first steps on this earth for the first time, and then eventually runs into the arms of its mother. And then it falls, and the mother picks the child up again. Now this happens with some exception, but usually it's the child running into the arms of its mother. And it's true that our mother and father are both heroic, colossal, heroic figures in our life. And with this comes a tremendous expectation that we ascribe to them, that they will always be there for us, despite their limits and weaknesses. I want to share my story of forgiving my parents. Guys, I know of what I speak because I carried horrible unforgiveness towards my parents. I was on my own at a very young age, and I always had this feeling of abandonment, which created a tremendous amount of pain in my heart. And I traveled with this unforgiveness for years and years. And, unforgiveness is one of those things that, it festers and it picks up steam and momentum, and it starts swirling inside, and it becomes like a storm, and it eventually gets out of control. And if it gets out of control, you usually start to feel some physical discomfort, and I did, and then I was forced to confront this storm of unforgiveness, and I did. And how I did was, one day a friend of mine, a close friend, said, "Eden, why don't you're in discomfort, you're obviously feeling great anguish here, why don't you reach out to God?" And I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, just in the privacy of your own time, why don't you speak to God about this?" And I said, "Well, how do I do that?" And he said, "Well, just start talking to him like you would talk to a parent or a best friend." And so something sparked inside of me, and when I was alone in my own place, I started a conversation with God. My friends, the conversation started with many tears, and then my tears moved to questions, because I had many questions for God. I had questions about my life, why my life went the way it went, why I experienced the things I experienced. I had questions about my parents, why my parents behaved the way they behaved, and how could this happen to me, and how could this happen to them? And this all seemed so unfair, so I said, why? And it's true, should you have the courage to ask the questions, you will get the answers. Should you knock on the door will open. These are laws of the universe, and they're certainly laws of God. And so God started to share with me. And people say, well, how did he do this? And it's hard to explain, but He started to open up my eyes in a way they weren't open before. He started to open up my ears in a way they weren't open before. And he started to open up my heart in a way it wasn't before. Because it's true that we can only understand life through our heart. You'll never understand this lifetime, my friends, through your brain. You can only understand life as it's refracted through your heart. For true knowledge and understanding lives in your heart. And so he opened up my heart and he started to reveal the truth of my parents' lives. And he started to reveal what had shaped my parents, what had impacted them, what trials and tribulations and traumas they had gone through to get to the point they got to. And he started to reveal to me what a miracle it was that they even found each other, that they even embarked on a loving relationship, and that they even had me as a child. And so it was a miracle that I was here talking to God in the first place. And I started to feel this miracle, and I started to feel the hand of God. This conversation continued, and as it continued, I started to develop a compassionate heart as I understood my parents on the deepest possible level. I started to develop a compassionate heart, a compassion that exceeded my own compassion for myself, and I was then one step closer to forgiving them. As I reached the highest level of compassion, I was close to forgiveness, and then God revealed a final truth to me, my friends, and the final truth was this. The truth was this, is that early on in my life, I turned these heroic figures, my mom and my dad, into idols, and not just idols, I turned them into gods. And like God, I projected unreasonable, irrational, and completely ridiculous expectations onto these people who were only human beings like you and me, subject to all the same flaws and foibles and failings. And then God asked me to put my eyes back on Him and keep talking to Him. And as I kept the conversation going, guys, He revealed something even deeper and more profound. He revealed to me that the mistakes that they made, unwittingly, never intentionally, had to happen, had to occur because it was His plan. And that these mistakes created opportunities for me to grow, for my soul and my heart and my mind to expand and to grow, and to become the person that I am today, and to become the person that can sit here with you and talk to you about this very, very important topic and help you to reach the forgiveness that you deserve. And my friends, I say, reach out to God. Reach out to God and let Him lead the way. And you will reach the forgiveness that you deserve. I wish you the best of luck. Thank you so much for listening, and God bless you all. Thanks, guys.